Hi everyone, welcome to the first episode of Murder Mystery and Makeup Show. So today we're going to be talking about the case of Jade Panayiotou. Jade Panayiotou was a young woman who thought she was living a fairy tale life. Jade was a local teacher at a primary school. That was a dream that she's always wanted ever since she was a kid. Jade was a good, caring person. So Jade was married to Chris Panayiotou. Chris Panayiotou was a dream husband. He was kind, he was loving, he was caring, he was hardworking. He was everything that Jade wanted in a husband. So Jade and Christopher met in 2004. 2004. They started dating. Christopher, at that time, he was working for his father. His father was a businessman. And so Christopher and Jade, continued dating until in 2012. That's when Christopher proposed to Jade. And obviously, Jade said yes. So when Christopher proposed to Jade, their relationship was growing from strength to strength. And they were in love, man. Until out of nowhere, cracks started showing in that relationship. Christopher started having an affair with an employee. So Christopher hired this lady at his workplace. So after quite some time, Christopher started having an affair with that lady. So they tried to keep this relationship undercover, but other employees started noticing what was happening. And at that time, Christopher seemed not to care that people knew he was having an affair. So as time went on, the relationship seemed to be more open. They would spend nights together at hotels when Jade was not around. Sometimes they'll spend the night at Christopher's home. So Christopher's father, he noticed what was going on, and then he asked his son if he was having an affair, and Christopher just couldn't deny it. He told his father that he was having an affair. So the father told him to stop that affair, because Jade was like a daughter to him now, and he loved her so much and didn't want to see Jade get hurt. His father threatened that he would cut him off the inheritance. So Christopher had no choice but to agree to stop the affair. But actually, he didn't even stop. He continued seeing this lady. So, and as time went on, in 2014-15 there, Christopher and Jade got married. And they got married. Christopher had promised Jade that they were going to get married. But in 2015, things started to become difficult for Christopher. He couldn't juggle work. He's trying to make his wife happy and the other affair on the side. So it was too much stress for Christopher. Until one day he said he just couldn't take it anymore. So Christopher approached a bouncer from a club called Lutando and asked him if he knew of a hitman. Lutando and then contacted Chris the following day and told him that he had found the hitman. So Chris arranged with the hitman and Lutando, and then they made up so that Chris could give them the plan. So Chris met up with the hitman and explained the plan. He told the man about his wife's movements during the day and during the evening, and he asked the hitman to attack her and make it seem like it was a robbery gone wrong. So Chris gave the hitman some money, and then they used that money to hire a car, the car that they used to follow Jade for the next 2 to 3 weeks. And then until in April 25th, in April, around the 20s, the hitman then approached Chris and told him that they set the date for the hit, and the date was going to be on the 25th of April. So on that day, Jade, to attack Jade on her way to school. Jade was in a lift club with the other friend from school, Shanice. So on April 25th, it was Shanice's turn to drive them to school. And it was a rainy day. So Shanice called Jade as usual. She texted Jade as usual in the morning that she was gonna come. She was on her way to fetch her. But apparently when she was on her way, Shanice noticed that she needed to fill up her fuel. So she passed by the fuel station. And while she was busy putting fuel there, she texted Jade and told Jade that she was gonna be 10 minutes late. So Jade should wait for her inside the complex as it was raining and she would get wet. But then Jade told her that she was already on her way to the gate, so it was fine. She was going to wait for her there by the gate. 10 minutes later, Shanice arrived at the complex and Jade was not there by the gate. So Shanice checked for Jade inside the security room there, as she thought maybe Jade was hiding there, but still there was no sign of Jade. So then Shanice decides to enter inside the complex, and she checked for Jade again, but she was still nowhere to be found. Then that's when she decided to call Chris and tell Christopher that and asked about Jade. Then Christopher told Shanice that Jade already left for work long back. That's when Shanice told Christopher that Jade was not there at the gate for the lift. And then they started making calls. They called everyone that they knew and asked if they had seen Jade, if Jade had contacted them that morning. And no one had talked to Jade. So that raised an alarm. Immediately they knew that something was wrong. So Christopher and Jade's parents opened a missing persons case and they asked the community to help them look for Jade. So at that night, Christopher spent the evening at Jade's parents' house, and he even slept in the room that Jade used to sleep when she was a little girl. So the communities continued with the search. They continued the search, and then the following morning, they got a call from the police, and they told them that they had found a body at the outside a location called Nobuhle, and they should come and confirm if it was Jade. So when they arrived there, apparently it was Jade, and she was shot. So Jade was shot 3 times. She was shot on her head, on her chest, and on her arm. So upon investigation, detectives found out that the bank cards and the cash and the jewelry, they were not taken. Only the Jade's bank cards were taken. So immediately the detectives suspected that it was a hit and not robbery gone wrong. Quietly, the detectives started to investigate Jade's murder. Oh, okay. So 2 of the men who had abducted Jade tried to withdraw money using her cards, but then they were caught on camera. So police, they asked their informants to police asked the people if they knew the men and all, but still no one knew. So police sent out their informants to find out what really happened. 1 week after Jade's body was found, they had the funeral, and a lot of people attended. It was held in Port Elizabeth. A lot of people attended the funeral because Jade was known by people as she was a good person. And during the funeral, Christopher did a speech that touched everyone. Almost everyone cried when Christopher did that speech. Only for people to find out that this guy he didn't write the speech. He actually Googled the speech. Can you imagine? He Googled the speech. Yeah. So after the funeral, police continued with the investigations, which led them to Lutando, the bouncer. Yeah. He was arrested, and then he told the police everything. In exchange for immunity, he turned a state witness and told the police everything. So the police now, they had one job. The police had to they needed evidence against Chris, and it was not there. So the police sent out Lutando with another policeman to get a confession from Chris. So the police, they put a camera in the car where Lutando was going to meet up with Chris, in Lutando's car. So they put a camera there, a hidden camera. So Lutando went to Chris, they met up. So Lutando told Chris, hey man, the police arrested me and they're just asking me questions. I suspect that one of the hitmen is talking. Then this freaked Chris out. So Chris was starting to, already decided to remove a battery and a SIM card from his phone, because he was clever. He knew the police were going to track him if he was with Lutando. So he removed the battery and the SIM card, and Chris was seen checking like Lutando if he was wearing wires. Likely Lutando was not wearing any wires. So Lutando convinced Chris to talk. Lutando told Chris that it's suspected that the hitman had one of the hitmen had said something, but now he didn't know whether hitmen were they lying low. So Chris then told Lutando to maybe go out of town and lie low. He was gonna take care of Lutando's family. He actually gave Chris money. In fact, Chris gave Lutando some money and told him to go out of town and just lie low. He was gonna tell him to come back once things were low, like once things are fine. And Chris even told Lutando not to contact him. Lutando was supposed to buy a new phone and just pass Chris with it. Chris is the one who was gonna call him back when everything was fine, because he didn't want Lutando to lead police to Chris. Okay, so then the police got the evidence that they needed from that camera, and Chris was arrested. He was also arrested with 3 other guys, the hitmen. They were also caught and they were arrested as well. Day of the sentencing came, and on the day, guess what? Lutando changes his story. Lutando tells the judge that the police forced him to say it. No, he doesn't know anything about it. So despite him changing the story, the judge said they're gonna use that evidence in court. So with Lutando knowing that he messed up, because now there's no more immunity for him since he changed the story, Lutando decided to run away. He disappeared. On 2 November, then that's when Chris was sentenced to life in prison, and also the co-accused were also sentenced for murder and robbery. So one of the hitmen, he actually died whilst waiting for trial. He was poisoned in prison there. It's so said that he was willing to change his statement and tell the truth and confess. So they got sentenced. Chris was sentenced to life imprisonment, and then the other guys also, they were given life and robbery. And then 6 months later, boom, Lutando was found. And then Lutando was also sentenced for I think was sentenced for life imprisonment. I'm not sure, but he was sentenced. So guys, please be safe out there. Take care of yourselves, and thank you for watching our show. We'll see you guys again next week. Have a great week. Bye.